Hi, and welcome to my life. It is a beautiful, for now, day in sunny central Texas. I'm Kismet, the feral grandma. And after my class, I ran down to, I pulled in by the low water crossing at the river. So I see it with water in it one more time before the full heat of summer kicks in. Unless there's a lot more rain north of us, it's going to be a dry riverbed before too long. I was actually kind of looking for a good place to sit and finish my breakfast, and I've got a coffee over here next to me, and I've got leftover ribeye. This is how a carnivore packs a breakfast. I mean, it used to always be breakfast tacos because I'm in Texas, this is what we eat. But I don't need the tortillas and the hot sauce and the cheese. I need beef. And I cooked it, so it's very good. It's not overdone. It's a little pink in the middle. The salt is at my level. Yep. And iced coffee. So I got another little stamp on my stamp card. Seriously, y'all, your coffee place needs to be doing this. Get these stamps. Get a free one. And it's kind of fun, you hand it off to somebody. I mean, they've got shakes, and I mean, why not? They've got all the flavors, right? But they also do some fruit smoothies and things like that. And one day when I didn't want a coffee, and I'm not doing fruit because I'm carnivore, right? To a lot of people, that would mean, oh no, you shouldn't be drinking coffee either. Well, so what? I like some sometimes. If you like a coffee occasionally, have one. I don't care. Take care of your body. You need a little caffeine to wake up so you're kind of safe in traffic? That's great. Just don't spill it all over yourself while you're in traffic and wind up causing an accident, because that would be counterproductive. And I had something in mind I was going to talk about, but I got a little bit meditative at the end of class. I mean, I was doing something that's hard. I have some dagger forms that just fell into a giant hole when I had my TIA. So I was doing something hard. I was trying to get it back. My reading came back. I want my dagger forms back too. I worked hard for those. And it had to have been a headache for Master State. And probably a headache for Master Duncan and Master Branson. She's cool though. Oh yeah. And I saw a squirrel in the neighborhood when I pulled in. I hope nobody flattens him because I don't usually see squirrels out here. Tons of them in town. So efforts to control stray animals might be working if there's not enough cat's eating them up that squirrels are getting out here. There's a little bit of squirrel discussion in semi-retired Bob's live stream yesterday. I had to catch the replay. I missed the live. But I did remember to go in and put in my steps for yesterday. Now it's almost 90 degrees out. It's getting hot, y'all. And soon, instead of beautiful sunny Central Texas, it will be muggy and oppressively humid Central Texas. But I still love it here. Now, this is the kind of conditions that will make magnolias bloom. I don't know about steel magnolias, but the white kind that smell really good and they come on trees. First they bloom and it's a bud as big as my fist, and then it's a flower that's bigger than my hand. Oh my gosh, those are wonderful. Now, there's been a few, but if you live anywhere where magnolias are blooming, get out and run an errand early enough that the air is still a little bit cool and that scent just hangs. It just permeates the air. It's beautiful. There's some kind of white blossom on a small tree down just a few doors down and across from me, but it's not making any scent worth noticing. I do like flowers. Oh, gosh. I need to get some more bulbs of those disastrously poisonous red spider lily that the grandson is trying to bloom. And he planted his just a bit too deep. That's the younger boy. I don't know if the older boy likes any flowers at all. Oh, excuse me. I need another bite of my food. I am trying to switch my meal times from later to earlier. Switching from later to earlier has been very slow going because I need to cook for someone else. You wouldn't think his thumbs work, but every single person in there knows where the kitchen is and has at least, oh dang, a hand and a half worth of functionality. So, of course, the person with the least functionality in the hands is cooking for three of them. Including herself. The boys are starting to cook for for themselves a little bit more. I don't ever see them cooking for their mama, and they probably should be. Alright, younger one did cook for his mama on Mother's Day weekend, on Mother's Day. I know one of the things I was going to talk about. I mean, I've been pretty open about the fact that I've had what's essentially a stroke. A TIA is a kind of stroke. And I'm not entirely positive that it's as mild as the ER said it was. They said that's what T and TIA stands for, is transient ischemic attack. and that because of the transient nature of it, that there's no lasting effect. Well, bullshit. Sorry, children, but bullshit. Sometimes that's the only word you can put on something. One of the reasons Master Branson comes to mind so often is that she is one of 2 people I know who has had major insult to the brain, is very understanding about what I'm going through. And she's cool. I've long wanted to grow up to be like Master Branson. That's some weird hero worship. I think she might be a year or 2 younger than me. But, yeah, I got some serious hero worship going on there. But I recalled how few people... Well, my friends basically are not talky, tale-bearing, gossipers. So a lot of people still don't know. Ryan, not Master Ryan, because that would be Master Robert Ryan, usually, although his parents have also achieved that rank. But Ryan used to be there for open gym during the week when Master State was available, and he'd come in and be working on his kung fu stuff, and he was frequently Master State's grappling dummy if we needed one for the class. He's not a dummy. He's a smart guy, and he's a personable guy. But he asked me how I was today, and I said, I'm pretty good. And then I caught myself and I stopped. I try not to lie to my friends. I said, could be better. And he says, oh, what's up? I'm like, well, I did have a stroke. He's like, when was that? I'm like, almost 2 years ago. Almost. He's like, I had no idea. I'm sorry. I kind of described what my feet have been doing since then. If I'm in a store and I sort of turn a little bit, but the toe of one foot will get bound up against something, and then I can't move until I get the other foot out of the way and then get the toe unbound, okay? Or the tip of my shoe, basically. And when Master Duncan is saying you have to have your feet in the right place or you can't move, he means it. That's exactly it. If your foot is in the wrong place, you cannot move until you correct something. And it's hard. Especially when you have wild motions with this foot going off on a tangent and this one cross-stepping in front of the other one for no apparent reason that you can think of. So far for me, some things do seem to be working. I was reading about carnitine. It's a protein. And it is something that is typically lacking in the diets of vegetarians and vegans. And it is important for the brain development of the baby during pregnancy and the small child. So, of course, people trying to raise their kids 100% vegan or 100% vegetarian are incidentally, unintentionally harming their children. And the application of supplements to the child's diet. I mean, you can take a capsule apart and sprinkle this protein into their food, and it will still do them good. But it's better to let them eat meat until they're not hungry, so that they're sure to be getting enough. That's how I eat now, is I eat meat till I'm not hungry. But I keep getting carnitine and keeping that in my diet. And every now and then, a memory will come through. And that helps. I wasn't really thinking about it recently, but I'm trying to rewrite things, right? A lot of stuff came out of my head, trying to stuff it back in. So today, being Saturday and open gym, I was trying to do a dagger form that I worked on incessantly to get it into my head the first time. And I have now confirmed that it's almost completely gone. Excuse me, my fit band is coming off. But it's not anything anyone else is currently working on. So I was in there by myself trying to get part of Yang dagger form. I still gotta do Yin dagger form. I need to have both of them in my head. Little tiny bits are coming through. In fact, it was just like 2 months ago or so. I remembered the feel of the grips on my dad's tonfas. Now, they're not even in the Chinese martial arts. They're, well, according to at least one website I found, they're Okinawan. Of course, the people of Okinawa will claim everything if you let them. They already seem to, anyway. But here's a sword or a dagger. Oh, we invented that. I like their food. What can I say? I'm not exactly a foodie, but I do like some Japanese foods. Sometimes the seasonings just seem a little weird to me, but that might be because I eat so many different things. I like the savory flavors. I don't necessarily want the sweet ones so much. And, there are some really weird sweet flavors in Japanese foods where I think a savory flavor would work. Of course, I also like Korean and Vietnamese foods, so, and Chinese foods, and some Thai foods, and some Indian foods, and some Philippine foods, and a few other things. You might kind of guess I like food, and it doesn't have to be chopstick food either. In fact, I was mentioning pepperonis in a chat recently. When I can find some that I'm pretty safe eating, in other words, no fennel seed, one of my best favorite things to do with them is lay them out on a piece of foil or parchment. Ooh, that's a roadrunner. And if it's hopping around being happy, it might have found a baby snake to eat. I'm okay with that. I mean, baby snakes need somewhere to be too, right? So inside a roadrunner's belly is a good place. That's one of the reasons Texans are so fond of roadrunners. Because we're not always so fond of snakes. But, yeah. I was talking martial arts. I had a memory of the feel of the grips, the handles on my dad's Tonfas. And he put those in my hands like 45 years ago. Give or take an ish, you know? So 45-ish years ago. I don't know anyone who can give me some drills on using them. And Master Duncan encouraged me to see if I could find it, the case for them on Century's website. Because Century Martial Arts, they sell almost everything martial arts, right? I looked, but I couldn't find a case. Now I wonder if my dad needs a case. I think I might get him one. I mean, I don't have to, but... somebody across the street from me got another doggy. Or got a doggy. Not the place where the big guy lives, who's sometimes kind of loud. This one's smaller. And on a leash. The leash is pink, and the little harness is pink. And the little girl holding the end of the leash, she may not be wearing pink, but, you know, got a pink band on her hair, so her and the puppy dog match. Good looking kid, nice looking dog. Brother is carrying stuff in for the mom. The mom is doing something. Yay, kids. We got some good ones around here. Yeah. Trying to dredge stuff up or going digging for treasures. Lost treasures in my head. They're in there somewhere. If I could have such a clear memory of the feel of the handles of my dad's Tonfas that I had to go buy some to reinforce that memory, then I am recreating the connections. I need more of that. And that little bit of dagger training I did today, that helped too. Because I knew I had some of it right. Except I mixed up where there's 12 little circling slashes versus where there's 15 little circling slashes. I had those turned around. Section 4 I remembered pretty clearly. But seriously, if you have this kind of issue with your brain and you're trying to recover from it, do things that are familiar. Make sure your family knows. Take you to places that you have liked in the past. Offer to take you out for meals that you have enjoyed in the past, but not to be emotionally connected to those. Your taste can change. What you like can change a lot. You may not want the same kind of movies. I find I still do. Because when Christmas comes around, Hans Gruber has to fall off the Nakatomi Plaza Tower. And death has to take the part of the Hogfather. And I have to eat a pork pie. And there are some people around who are not reading enough to understand, but you can watch that as a movie. The Hug Father, every Christmas. Of course, Doctor Who Christmas stuff, especially the Christmas specials, those are worth watching too. I need to find more. But it doesn't hurt if you're at risk. If you have cardiovascular risk, there is a chance that you're at risk for stroke if you're also at risk for a heart attack. But my heart attack risk is actually very low. Blood pressure is more of an indicator than LDL. I'll tell you that right now. Your body will make LDL if you don't interfere with its ability to do so. Guess what statins do? They can't lower what comes from your digestive tract into your system. What they do is function by stopping you from producing the LDL your body has signaled that it needs. Your brain tissue needs that for repair. And if you find out in advance and leave a little bit of notebook instructions. Oh, by the way, make sure I'm getting this. Give me this for a diet. No sugar. All the meat I can eat. Make sure I'm getting plenty of saturated fats. Electrolytes, gotta get your salt in. Oh, I need tissue. Oh, crud. Oh, don't have a napkin right there. But, make sure somebody's in agreement with you about how you want to be handled in the event of a traumatic event impacting the brain. You will recover better afterward. I mean, I was using NAC anyway for body recomposition after I started carnivore, because recomposition makes for less sagging folds of loose, empty skin. Granted, I have a little bit anyway, because I did lose a lot in the first 2 years. And I need to lose about that much again. Not quite all the way that much, but close to it. But proteins are important. Proteins are the substrate the body puts into a place that form the lattice work, if you will, the shadow box, that you fill in with everything else. You ever seen Grandma's shadow box with her little tiny knickknacks in them? Or her thimble collection, or whatever? Proteins form that lattice work. They form the matrix that your body then follows up. I mean, you lay down your protein substrate first, even when you're making bone. We tend to think of protein as something that is blood plasma and muscle tissue. It does a lot more than that, and we need a lot of it. So what do? Let's convince everybody that meat is bad, okay? No, it ain't. I mean, I like my fish, and I like Cornish game hens. I like them better than I like chicken. I have a lot more ice in my cup now than coffee. Okay. But the thing is, just the way protein comes in first and lays down the matrix that gets filled in with calcium and minerals to make your bone and your bone marrow, because you've got to have protein for that too. But the same thing happens in your brain. First, you lay down your substrates where you need proteins, they go in, and then your NAC and your carnitine and, all these proteins that you have to have them. One of the reasons brains and other nerve tissues heal so slowly is that we're not giving them what they need. Oh, I'm vegetarian, but I'm going mostly vegan this month. No, baby, eat your eggs. Eat your meat. If you tolerate eggs, eat them. If you have trouble with eggs, try separating them and having just the yolk. More people have trouble with the whites than the yolks. By the way, that's not Y-O-K-E, it's Y-O-L-K. Trust me on that. Y-O-K-E is what you put across the necks of 2 draft animals so they can pull your plow. Or it's a design feature on a Western shirt. Trust me, I sew. But now that's a thing, But, where was I? Yes, eat your eggs if you tolerate them well. If dairy doesn't make too much difference for you, have some yogurt or a serving of cheese. Now, a serving is 1 ounce, I believe, when it comes to cheese, because it does condense quite a bit when you take the whey out of the milk by curdling the cheese. And then you press the curds together and get even more whey out of it. It's been a while since I made cheese, but believe me, you do a lot to condense the meaningful proteins into a format that your body can use, and that has the fats in it. Now, one of the great things with cheese, if you tolerate it well, and you have trouble getting your grams of fat up to the point that Dr. Bright and other carnivore nutrient advising doctors would want you to get to, cheese puts a lot of that in there. But you want the aged firm cheeses, because the microbes that the cultures that turn milk into cheese, they keep working on it. And when they do, they're consuming the lactose, the milk sugars. The part that makes some people get so disastrously ill. If you insist on eating the soft cheeses, they're tasty. And the fats are there, but they still have a lot of lactose. Now my glasses are kind of... something was on the inside of my glasses. Now I need to wipe them on my shirt. Here we go. There. Now I'm pretty again with no spot on my glasses. But, yeah. The soft cheeses will keep your sugar addiction going. So, of course, it's a soft cheese that's in the not mayo. But it's only 1/3 of the recipe. The other 2/3 is sour cream. And then you got about 3 tablespoons lemon juice and a half a teaspoon of salt. A little bit more if you want it. Some people don't want much salt. And watch out for your salt because you don't want any salt that has sugar in it. You can find that on the ingredient panel where it says salt and whatever else and prevents caking. Maybe it would cake less if there weren't sugar in it. We've got to balance the flavor. BS. A decent cook will balance their flavors without using a salt that has sugar in it. Dr. Chafee is a big one for saying, and he grabs the images of MRIs and puts this up. Sugar lights up your brain in exactly the same places as meth. So it's destroying your brain in exactly the same places as meth. And so, of course, people are feeding it to kids and wondering why they're addicted. Why can't you stop eating that? Well, it's sugar. They're addicted. Just like with meth. But, I've been outside for a while. I guess it's time to go in. I might have more to talk about later, but for now, this is enough. I hope I start seeing more squirrels out here, but with the number of loose cats and dogs, I don't think it's very likely. So y'all take care of yourselves. Take care of your pets. Keep them where they need to be. Keep them safe. If your cat is wandering around outside, it's just as likely to get flattened in traffic as a stray dog is. If not more so, because cats honestly remember that they were once worshipped and they expect to still be worshipped. So when they're out not being worshipped and they're sitting in the middle of the road, you can honk at them for half the day. They won't move. Teeny tiniest little cat expects to be worshipped and will bite you if you don't. And people think, oh, cute, he's trying to play with me. Nah, he's just bitey. But, yeah. I hope I see more squirrels. I kind of like them. Roasted in a little bit of butter. Salt and pepper is good. Or just salt. Squirrels are like meat candy. That's why they're in such tiny packages. Cows are meat essentials. That's why they're in big packages. Good Lord intended me to eat a lot of beef. Moose, elk, venison, things of that nature. I like venison. I love elk. I like beef well enough. But you know what? Eat something that's good for you. If you're not sure, if you don't feel good after you have eaten, I mean, sometimes I just feel like, oh, that was awesome, now I need to belch. I mean, maybe I had more stomach acid than appetite. But, if something's giving you gas or giving you a gut ache, figure out what it is. Keep a journal of what you're eating and how you feel afterward and what your mood is over the next 24 hours. And drill it down. Find out what it is that leaves you not feeling well. you can really improve what's going on with your health and your diet. Because if you can help yourself feel better, you should. And that's also the kind of thing to put in your notes. It's like, oh, I'm at risk. I have, CT angiogram did not go well, and they told me I'm at risk. And I have problems here. And if things flow through, it'll go and impact in my brain. I have problems here, and if things flow through, it'll impact on heart valve. That's your stroke and your heart attack risk right there. Now, I need to make such a notebook myself. If I have these problems, do these things for me. Take me places I like to eat. If I'm dripping on my shirt, I don't care. Offer me an extra napkin. If I can't use chopsticks anymore, put a spoon in my hand. But help me rewrite the pathways. I like pho. If you do not like pho, you can go to the same place and eat shaken beef. Seriously. That is a dish that Loki and my son both eat. I eat it too, but there's some sauce on the beef, so I usually don't. And, if you'd rather go to Chili's, then get me a ribeye surf and turf with some shrimp. No sides, no bread. A glass of water with lemon or unsweetened tea. If you want to go someplace that is breakfast oriented, 4 eggs over medium and 2 full orders of bacon. It sounds like a lot, but I can actually pack that in without half thinking of it. A cup of coffee or water or unsweetened tea. Yep. I'm not picky. I eat other kinds of steak too. I'm still trying to sort out or drill down what it is that turns me off so much about ground beef. Maybe the fact that it's way too easy to overcook. Because when you grind it, those tiny pieces, they contract, and it's like so many little beads of ground up rubber. It should taste like a steak, and it doesn't. And when it hits my stomach, it should feel like a steak, but it doesn't. Ooh. Maybe I should try some ground veal. Veal is not in vogue right now. It used to be everywhere. But, it's just politically incorrect these days. Stuff I need to take in, that, and that. My coffee. My ice cubes melting in my cup that had been coffee. And the sun is higher in the sky, and I'm sure the temperature is going to hit 90 any minute now. Loki and Lyrical were supposed to get out this morning and do the mowing. They're waiting until it's 90 or 95 degrees, I'm sure. And then they'll talk. Lots of talk. Always more. When everything's said and done, there's been a lot more said than done. Keep that in mind. Don't let that be the way of your life. Yesterday I said I was going to the store. I went to the store. I bought a lot of beef. And I am considering getting a deck box similar to the one that Loki has the welding gear in. Put it by the back door. I wonder what size freezer I could get into one. Because then if I could buy a quarter to a half of beef, then I wouldn't be running out all the time and having to go to the grocery store just to get more beef. And he has more capacity for his food than I do, being quite the bigger guy. And then there's teenagers. God knows they eat. Oh, God, do they eat. My daughter is going to go broke feeding them. Well, no, she already has. But, things have been set in motion to correct that. But now I'm hoping Mr. Tism, Lyrical, might someday eat enough meat that he's getting his carnitine and his B6. B6 was something I added more recently, but as it integrates into my system, I mean, it's something you need anyway. It's an essential vitamin. And it comes from meat. Go figure. But it is specifically one of those things that came up when I was looking at ways to take care of my brain tissue health. Besides carnivore, of course. And it was a month or two after starting the extra B6 drops that was like, I'm getting little tingles of nerves that you don't usually pay attention to. There's a little stretch in the back of my hand. It's like, here's a little tingle. And that can be as much a nerve coming back to itself as it is often, oh, there's damage here and I'm not getting signal from it. Which is what they check for in your feet when you go to the emergency room after a stroke or TIA. I'm sure officially they were happy to put TIA. Unofficially, I'm happy. I canceled all my appointments and started looking this shit up, because otherwise it might take them till next year sometime to figure out, hey, maybe some carnitine and B6 would help. You know, those are things I take expressly because I found enough medical literature suggesting that these things would help my recovery. And they are. Do familiar things. Swing on a swing. I need a swing. The kind on a frame that sits in your yard and you just sit there and you kind of push back with one foot and then let yourself swing forward. That would help. But they tend to rot. My late father-in-law used to sit on his porch swing. And he actually had it hanging on the front porch. It was hanging from chains to the veranda. I don't have a veranda. It would be nice if I did. The roof of the porch. Oh, hey, I was starting to think about going in and I forgot all about it. Ramble, ramble, ramble. But yeah, when you're doing something nice for somebody and that happens to be your grandma, your aunt, or your mom, or your sibling who had a stroke or other insult to the brain, surgery, aneurysm, whatever, take them somewhere that they used to like to go to eat. If they would rather go get a coffee and then go to the library, you can do that. The library in Georgetown, you can go in there and now they had the red poppy coffee bar, whatever. Anyway, there's Larkin Owl bookstore north on Maze is it Maze? Or was it Austin Avenue? Yes, North Austin Avenue in Georgetown, where if you don't mind killing brain cells, you can get a glass of wine and look at the books. You can get a beer and look at the books. You can get a light lunch and a coffee, or a fancy coffee, and look at the books. You can buy somebody a pair of socks with really short words that your polite granny might be aghast at. I sent a pair to a author that likes those words. She admits she likes those words, but it's just socks. So, if her dad is showing up, she can slip her feet into her shoes and he maybe won't notice those words. Because he sounds a bit like my aunties. I wouldn't want to shock them. They might like the coffee or the wine or the light lunch. I don't know if they're beer drinkers. I really don't. My dad might have a beer and look at books. But if anyone shows this to my dad, it helped that I remembered the feel of your tonfas in my hands. And now I have to not say anything. Because I'm still thinking of getting him a case to put them in. I'll ask my sister if he has one. She divorced long ago and she's been living with him because if somebody's going to have stroke, we have that in common now, it's just as well if there's somebody living there with him. And they tried to convince me I've had 6 or 7 strokes. No. What I have is a lifetime of migraines and physical insults to the head. Concussions, if you will, and other inflammation. But I can still fog a mirror, so I'm changing my life. And not being emotionally attached to sugar has been a big help. So please, do good things for yourself. Protect your head. Eat something healthy. Find out things you need and do them. Whether it is gentle exercise, walking, sprinting if you're physically capable. If you're a fall risk like I am, you can do the seated elliptical down at the gym. You can stand on the vibration plate in the light booth and hold on to the things above your head, the chains with the plastic on them so you don't tear your hands up. Vibration plate is wonderful. Treadmill if you need to walk where there are people and you can't be sure of having enough people around. Gentle exercise is good. Gentle exercise will help you burn up the blood glucose you have in your system from gluconeogenesis. Yeah, remember what I said about your body producing the cholesterol you need? It does that with blood glucose too. There are not very many things you absolutely have to have blood glucose for, so you get fat adapted and you burn the fat that's in your system. But you can't do that if your insulin is so high that everything is one way. If your insulin is up, you cannot get the fat out of the cells to take it to other cells and to make cholesterol your brain needs. So eat what's good for you, do what's good for you, learn the things that will be helpful to the people around you. I learned about cheese because the grandchildren love cheese. And they need proteins and they need fats more than they need lactase or lactate. But that's okay. Now, the standard American slice is still kind of soft, so now the thick slices that are not individually wrapped, which I wish were, those are harder to separate, but they're firmer. And then you've got cheddar, which is often aged. If you get a 2-year aged or 3-year aged, you're doing better. Get Manchego, 5 years, 10 years, whichever. And Gruyere and provolone. I mean, there's so many good things in the world you can have. But I am, once again, slowly building up to making a nice cheese board one night. I've got a package of pepperonis in there. I'm not in a hurry to open them. I've got a couple of nice cheeses. I'll get some more. My daughter will be happier if there are some tasty, crunchy vegetables that I don't eat. And of course, the children will consume any sweet fruits. Good for them. Sugar addicts. But I love them. And if that's what it takes to get them to eat anything, then I'll keep doing that. Yeah, besides the pepperonis, I'll put some prosciutto and maybe some salami. I might find some Italian version of cheese. Or some Swiss Gruyere. Or Swiss cheese. Actually, I might go to a smoked Swiss. You can buy that with the flavor already on it. A couple of smoked cheeses, several not smoked. It's not an immediate plan, but it's something, because cheeses keep well unopened in the refrigerator, it's something you can build up to slowly for a rather decadent meal. And the meats to go with them are typically preserved. But yeah, I will eat what's good for me. I will drink my water. I will take my butt in the house finally. Y'all be good. Grandma loves you and wants you to be safe. Alright, bye-bye.